All right, it is 5:30. So let's call this meeting to order. We will do introduction of board and guests. I'm Teddy Rowland, the chair. Um, so
Susan
whoever wants.
Borgmeyer. Susan Borgmeyer, board member.
Eve McGee, board member.
Stu May, board member.
Ben Kistner, board vice chair.
Deborah Pryor, board member.
Robin Myers, staff.
Georgie McNamara, staff.
Kenneth Bird, staff.
Tom Holcomb, staff.
Staff.
Who we
George
missing?
Mitchell, board member.
Ed Van Haley, board member.
Brandon Smiley, staff.
Jillian Braun, staff. Erin Underwood, staff.
Shannon Maloney, Navarro, staff.
All right, did we get everybody? Robin, I'm going to count on you to double check that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody else.
Okay, all right, then we will start off with the properties quarterly report with Robin. I don't know if we need to go through it. What did we decide?
We talked about just me inquiring if there were any questions based upon the report that I had given to you guys in advance. You saw that a lot of our long-term projects were completed.
Yes. I don't have any questions, Robin.
Hey, is DPI back in that facility? Have they moved back in that facility in Kansas City?
No, we actually had a fire there recently. So we've got to replace a couple of doors. It was some homeless people on the patio.
Oh,
Yeah, and they were cooking on the patio and caused a little bit of a fire. No major damage at all, right? I've told you, but enough to delay anyone going back in there. So we're going to have some gates put on all those doorways on the patio are in little alcoves. And so we're going to have some gates put on those alcoves. So, people are encouraged not to cook and stuff back in there. I don't think that they're going to move all their operations back quite yet. Tom might have more of an update if you want to tell, because I think you're the one who talked to Rebecca about it, right, Tom?
I talked to Rebecca a couple of days ago, and she mentioned to me that she's planning on doing some work at their Independence location, as far as some remodeling work. They've got flooring they'd like to replace and that sort of thing. That they're working on raising grant funds to do that. They're not asking us for the money for those things. But she's expecting that she'll need to move her people out of that Independence location long enough to do some of that work.
oh.
And so she's expecting that they will at some point, at least for some length of time, move back and start using the Kansas City location again. But at least when I was talking to her, she didn't have any timing on that.
Was that fire on the back side of the building?
Yeah, off of the patio in the back, it was there were two doors that were damaged. And again, Tom probably has more information than I do since he talks to the maintenance company more than I do. But
yeah, it's really minor stuff. It's gonna cost us less than $1,000 to do the repair and at this point we're not at all sure that we're going to have to actually replace those doors. We might get away with repainting and power washing. The best guess is we'll be somewhere around $2,000 on adding those gates. But anyway, that gives you some kind of picture of it. It's not major at all. I don't think it's caused any change to Blue Valley in their operation with what they're doing.
Okay, any other questions or comments about Robin's property report? Anybody? All right, then if we're good on that, although I can't see all the faces, let's see. Then we'll move on to the services quarterly report. Who's going to start?
That would be me.
Oh, go for it, Tracy.
Hi. So
Hi,
it seems
Tracy.
I'm still stuck in first place in doing these presentations. So this is Alex Slagle, who you know, and then Amy Newport, who I think several of you have met also, both part of agency relations. Just thought I would kind of involve staff a little bit more today. I'm going to first just talk for a second about provider training on the next. Yep. So Rita Trotter is our training coordinator. She's been there for 18 years in June. So one of the longest running staff at ETOS, I believe. Just wanted to mention that she is the one who organizes all the training. She does all the contract stuff with contracted employees. She's got a really big role, but she's usually in the behind the scenes, so you don't really get to see too much from her, but she's in close contact with all the providers that utilize our training. And I just want to let you know that we've had 14 trainings this year. We've had 126 people go through agency training. And then we've had 33 no-shows so far this year. So we're going to have to try to figure out that. We kind of thought we had some solutions last year and made some improvements, but we're just back to having a lot of no-shows. Sorry, was somebody saying something?
Actually, it wasn't me, but I do want to interrupt just briefly. I think I was at Rita's 25th anniversary party, and she's our most tenured employee, so I think she's been here longer than 18 years.
Then I have the wrong date. I think it's actually in our system. Paycom. Okay, so let's say 25. How about that? So 3 agencies, outside agencies, have used our building so far: Vocational Rehabilitation, Impact, and APSI. And those were for big trainings and meetings.
Tracy,
Yes.
Tracy, would you remind us again what APSI is, please?
Yeah, there's a national organization and a state organization, and they primarily are focused on community employment. So there's a board, and usually people from our area have been on that board. So we've had Job One and Hochstein's been on it.
Can you tell me what APSI stands for?
The Association of Providers of Supported Employment.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know that I've ever known what APSI stands for. And that usually they'll use our building for a big training each year, or a meeting sometimes, but usually training. And then we're just planning on doing more trainings during 2025. DSI wants to do a couple of trainings for caregivers and DSPs. So we're going to do that early fall, we believe, once our bathrooms are remodeled. I think we can go to the next page. So this year we're working with 22 agencies and agency relations. We have 40 programs that we're supporting. In 2026 funding cycle, it's coming. We're working on it. We're trying to set some dates. So we're hoping to have some of those dates out to the providers in the next few weeks. We had our quarterly meetings with all of our agencies and had some really great meetings. It was good to see it. Sent the written report. I don't know if there were any questions there, but definitely had some good meetings, and people were working on their outcomes. They, for the most part, are making headway on their outcomes. There's a few exceptions, and DSI on one of their programs, I've mentioned it here, but the employment program, they want to expand that and access DMH funding. So the funding that we were giving them for this year has to do with a staff member that could help them get contracted with DMH. We're not sure at this point what the status of that is they're on hold. They have a new COO, CCO, I'm not sure, COO maybe, who is getting familiar with the program, and I think will probably make a decision about expanding. So they've kind of got a hold on that for us for now, but they haven't billed anything for that program. And then ACE is the other program that I think in the report, I was only able to say that we're in talks with them to create something else. I did get an email today with some classes that they have scheduled to be out in Blue Springs and one at IHD it's actually specifically for people with disabilities being trained by people with disabilities. And so there's leadership training, there's advocacy training. I have a flyer that I can share out with you all. I've asked them to write up some type of proposal if they want that to take the place of their ACE program, and then what the costs would be surrounding those classes to see if that's something that we would want to do in place of the ACE program, since that is no longer. I think that was it on that. And then I just have some stories I wanted to share. So this can make you happy. These are the things that, like, when you sit in that committee for 2 full days and you read all those funding proposals, and we're not sure when we get money and what that's going to look like. But Blue Springs Theater, we gave a small amount this year, and they're going to have 2 different plays that they'll put on. This was Annie, and it was terrific. I guess the number of kids you can kind of see there on the stage, but they had 3 different kiddos, and I don't know if you can read the stories, but once, let me see, a boy with Down syndrome who was incredibly shy and minimally verbal made it on stage for the last 2 performances. Prior to that, he was hiding, refusing to come out. His mother also is reporting that he's using new words that he's never used before. We had one gentleman that had not done much socially. It really was introverted, was staying home. He was 21. I think he was the oldest performer. He was like out there talking with the other adults and at the end of the performances, and just made huge strides, and now is talking about potentially employment. And then there was this other, let's see here. I can let you read that, but it was really cool to see that just these performances, getting them with a group of kids that without disabilities and pairing them really got them out of their, I don't know, shyness. And there'll be another play in the fall, and I'll make sure and send that out to you also, so you can see what it's all about. They had 4 performances, and the performances were well attended, so that was good. And then Ability KC, we are paying for an OT, and that OT is kind of a rock star there. She's been doing a great job with really connecting with people, learning about them. If you have met Marla before, the director there, the 2 of them have really connected, and the changes in some folks have been just really dramatic as far as the amount of jobs that they are now able to do, and the increase in some of their pay. But this young man has been sitting by himself, very isolated, not engaged with anyone. He's deaf, and no one there knew sign, but the OT is fluent in sign. And she has made these booklets, and he's completely come out of his shell. He's made several friends there now, and he's out sitting with people and much more engaged. He's working on several jobs that he wasn't doing before. So just really exciting to see that OT position, just one position, is making all the difference there.
But she's leaving, isn't she, Tracy?
No, so they do have another OT, and that's for the home evaluations that they do. She is leaving and will be replaced. This OT is specific to the workshop, and we're
Okay.
paying her salary
Okay.
through that. We don't do it through a funding application anymore. We have a separate contract for the workshop.
Workshop.
Yep, and we pay for positions, and this is one of those positions that you guys are paying for. So
Good.
it's
Good.
great. And then CDD, I just wanted to share a little bit about this video. They are working on the befriending program, and it's been going, it's slow, but it's been successful. And I just wanted to show a little bit of the video. So Shannon, I don't know if you want to play for just a little bit. It's pretty cool to hear some of the stories. Or maybe it's Robin, I'm not sure.
That's me, and I'm gonna go ahead and start it now.
Thank you.
Martin.
I'm Miley Cadwallader.
My name is Reggie Lee Walker Jr.
My name is Tree Boy.
Hi, I'm Beth Vaughn, and I'm on the board for the Centers for the Developmentally Disabled, and I'm here with my friend Marcia, and we're a part of the Befriending program.
My name is Ant Durham. I am the Community Engagement Specialist for the Center for Developmentally Disabled. We help individuals with developmental disabilities ages 3 through end of life, and I'm also the leader for our Befriending program.
The things that we've done so far was cook.
Yeah.
Play a game on our, like, what's it called? Game
Pigeon.
Game Pigeon on our phones.
Yeah, Robin. With a Burger King, bowling. Walmart liquor on sale. We're going to Walmart. No.
Don't want to bleep it out. Don't worry.
Marcia and I have been friends, a part of the Befriending program, for about 6 months. Love coming to visit Marcia. She and I have a good time. We talk, we sit there and we'll watch some of her shows, and it gives me an opportunity to get out into the community and to have a great opportunity to meet with Marcia and just spend some time with her.
I wanted to become a befriender because I realized there was kind of a whole side of the community that I hadn't really been a part of, and I wanted to be able to be more integrated in that. And I really enjoy meeting people and making friends, and I think it could be a really fun opportunity, and it has been.
The experience has been like getting to know one another, having fun. We've been texting each other like non-stop.
Yeah, the experience has been really fun and very kind of like easygoing, just kind of however we make it.
CDD has started this program back in, I believe it was in May. It was exciting because it's a new program that CDD offered. CDD team made everything easy and I couldn't be luckier and blessed with having Dave and Reggie as a friend.
Happy for you too.
Thank you.
In order to become a befriender, I had an initial orientation class where I kind of just got to learn about the program, what the expectations were, kind of how the process worked, and then I had a few meetings or classes afterwards where we just went over training and communication, expectations, more of that, and then just safety class for her and I to be able to go on outings and stuff together.
Becoming a befriender since when I was a child, I had a friend who had developmental disabilities, and I had a bond and a connection with him at a young age. He left to Vietnam. I lost touch with him. Now that I'm a adult, I feel the need to reach out to individuals as well as having that same connection, and that's when I met Dave and Reggie through the Befriender program, and I couldn't be happier.
Do you like me to bring Daisy to see you?
Yeah.
Do you like to watch some of your shows together?
Yeah.
And we talk? You ask me about my family all the time, don't you? I brought you a couple things today, Marcia.
What? Wait.
It's a red, heart-shaped, little fuzzy guy. Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah.
He's really soft. Yeah, does it smell? like it?
What I learned from being David and Reggie's friend is just learning the challenges that individuals have, the challenges that we have together. You know, we have the same struggles.
Everybody does.
But also, you know, with individuals, having that friendship is vital, and I feel that maybe a lot of individuals don't have that ability to reach out to others, or maybe folks feel maybe intimidated or don't know the resources to go to get become a friend of individuals. So, but I'm learning a lot from them, and they're teaching me a lot about myself as well.
But Dad, but you can't live in this world by yourself. If I live in this world by myself, I go crazy. And I'm like got friends like my buddy here. Him, all you got mean a lot to me anyway.
I think he's a wonderful guy. And cool. And best friend I ever had. And he's also a good brother. Oh, look, we're all brothers now. I got 6 beautiful brothers in my family. That's pretty good. It makes me feel good too, inside my head. Makes me feel good inside my heart to have y'all all brothers. All good brothers. I love y'all.
The reason why the having friends is important is it's good to, you know, get to know one another, hang out, spend time. Because some people out there don't have friends.
For more information, you can check out the QR code on the screen.
I'm Nicole.
Thank you, Robin.
So Tracy,
Yeah.
Nicole Martin was one of the persons that applied to be on the board. So
She was.
just- yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted you to see some success. And there was the grand opening there. So like our money is going for some really great things. And I appreciate your support for all the
It's good.
agencies. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Tracy.
Sure.
Any other questions for Tracy? Just jump in if there are. All right, we have the community outreach.
Yes, that will be me. Ms. Shannon. So first quarter, some of the data is going to look a little different. Learning someone else's brain and how they tracked and captured everything and trying to report it similar was pretty difficult. But we did have 116 referrals to the benefit specialist, Miss Jennifer Seidel. As far as referrals for like resource information, there were 21 just from the TCM department. That doesn't mean there were others from other avenues, but just from the TCM department, we had 21 referrals sent over from individuals on our caseloads. And as many as 35 random phone calls came into the COD department from the community for different types of resources and information, and being able to connect them to their needs and give them information that they were seeking. Next slide, Robin. COD, all of the members were very busy. Here are a few of the pictures taken throughout the community committee meetings. There were 5 community events that they were attending and 4 community presentations. You have Sam in your bottom right corner at one of the events. Actually, he's on both right side. He was also at the Down syndrome. Oh gosh, what was the day? Goodness.
World 321, World Down Syndrome Day.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so he was there for that. And then they did, several members went to Southeast and made a presentation and met with Lauren, and I believe Lauren mentioned that at the last board meeting as well. And one of the cooler ones, if you ever get a chance to talk with Jennifer Seidel or Jasmine McCrary, as well as Nicole, they went to an elementary school and for their career day. So they were presenting their careers and how they impact the community and things like that. So they had a lot of interesting conversations with some youngsters and questions that they might not have been totally prepared for. But it was a fun time, and they really enjoyed going and talking and about their careers and what they do for ETOS. So that was probably their funnest event so far. Next slide. And a couple of the success stories you probably saw in the actual written report, there were multiple. And so I was trying to highlight some of, like, it's almost kind of just a random selection because it's not one's better than the other. But I thought these two were really cool because the first one, as far as our benefit specialist, Jennifer Seidel, the support she provided to an individual that not only he was a returning individual for information and things, but he really learned how to advocate with his state representative offices and stuff. So he was the one, he learned the avenues of having to be able to pick up the phone, to email, to just talk to his own representatives instead of going through someone else. So I thought that was really cool that he was advocating for himself. And then as far as Sam, our community resource coordinator, you can see kind of the outline of all of the things that he was giving with his family and resources and everything. But to have someone come back and thank you for the amazing summary of just information, but then actually come back and express that guidance was a huge difference and much time was appreciated, or the appreciation of the time and effort. But knowing that you made that huge difference from someone that you gave information is kind of, that's why we do what we do. So being able to have that wraparound and that feedback was very rewarding for Sam. And for anyone that has a moment to talk with Sam, you will absolutely understand the thoroughness and summary and everything that he can provide to a person. He's just an amazing individual in support to our community. Other than that, we do have Erin, who introduced herself. She's in place and learning all of the data and objectives and working, had their first team meeting, I believe, earlier this week. Right? Mm-hmm. Correct. So we're very excited to see what's to come and some information and stuff for next quarter. But any questions or comments from your written report or questions about the kind of the highlights here for COD?
Oh.
Thank you, Susan.
All right. Who do we have next? We have Dot.
Transportation, good old me.
There you go.
Right. Good evening, everyone. So just some of our department highlights for the first quarter of 25. We'll start off with, we serviced, we actually had our completed successfully 17,242 trips. And that represented about 333 different customers. So as we continue to look at how we're going to expand our operation, we want to make sure that we're providing those successful trips, and we hope to see those numbers continue to grow as we can manage. Then we'll move into overall for the department. We met 5 of our 6 performance objectives. And so each of our performance objectives, we set high targets to make sure we're putting our best foot forward. And I'm proud to say that we've met 5 of those 6 in that first quarter. The only objective that we did not meet was in relation to some of the ride time, and we were just shy of that. So we're really close in that area as well. We did have 4 vehicle accidents or incidents, none that required any type of major repairs or major losses of any kind or injury, anything like that. But I will say, coming from, working in the transit background, when you have 17,000 trips, 4 accidents is to be applauded, honestly. Then we'll go into, we have our 6 new vehicles on the road. We got those first quarter and we finally were able to get them outfitted and they are actually in service today. March 3rd, we implemented our new attendance policy. I know one of the big things that we were looking at with the department was in relation to route cancellations and things of that such, or of such. And one of the key players and reasons why you see those cancellations was employee attendance. You know, the two go hand in hand together. So it's nice to say that we have implemented our new policy and we seem to be making a lot of headway in that area. And then lastly, for the highlights, we're continuing, the department leaders are continuing to work to identify what our new routing system is going to be. We tried Route Genie for a little while and it just was not providing us what we were really needing to, as we look into what we want to do in the future. And so we are looking at other vendors and other options to move forward with this year. Robin, you can move to the next slide. Kind of segueing into this slide, the outlooks and statistics. Again, we have our new 6 vehicles. All of those have been outfitted and are in service. When you look at our driver attendance, so for quarter 1, our absenteeism average per month was 7.7 as an average. So 7.7%, which is honestly a downtrend from where we were in the fourth quarter of last year. So excited about that. As well as our route cancellation. We are, for quarter 1, we are about 7.8% as far as route cancellations on an average per month. And so when you look at the number of routes that we have each month, I kind of put that statistic there at the bottom. We have 50 for the first quarter, we had 1,566 routes. We canceled 116 of those, which is about a 7.4 percentage. So I put that on there just to get a snapshot in comparison to what the next quarter looks like. I want to really start showing the trends so we can start identifying what service is truly looking like. And then with the accidents, we had, of the 4, 2 of those were considered to be avoidable and 2 of those we considered not avoidable or non-avoidable. Then we're continuing to work on our camera relocation. In the fourth quarter of last year, we really made a surge to try to get those cameras in. And one of the reasons we're wanting to relocate the cameras, those driver-facing cameras on the vehicles, was because we got a lot of complaints from the drivers that the cameras where they were currently placed was impeding their vision. And so thinking through safety and all that, we just identified a different way to place those cameras on the vehicles where we're still capturing the information that we want to capture with the camera out of the driver's view, direct view. And then looking into service opportunities, we are working to create some sort of a transit forum where industry leaders can meet and discuss all things transit and look to see how we can better serve the community and grow partnerships with other organizations that provide service. And I think that is all of my slides. Is there any questions that I can answer?
Yeah, Brandon, Stu, of the 116 canceled routes, are any of those weather related or were those all driver related?
Nope, those are all driver related. So when I do our statistics, I try to get a clear picture of when we're actually in service versus we're shutting down service due to weather. So I really want to capture when we are scheduling routes and supposed to be having service where we're having those one-offs and identifying where those issues are. We all know that there are several different reasons why we can cancel service due to weather and all that. I think everybody understands that. I think the community, it's harder to understand. I don't have a driver available. And so that's what I'm really tracking is when I don't have a driver available.
Okay.
So Brandon, are your drivers finding issues with the amount of construction there is going on right now? Particularly I-70 is terrible.
Yeah, so of course we hear about it, but honestly, they work around it. The drivers are, they find their way around it, and yeah, it slows them down sometime. It can slow down, them getting to a stop or getting from a stop to another stop. But for the most part, they're working around it well. We haven't had many complaints from the drivers. We do know about it. We're aware of it. But we do our best to, when we know that there's traffic or some sort of a blockage somewhere, to inform them before they get to that spot so they can work around it prior to actually having to drive through it.
Thank you, Brandon. Does anybody else have any questions for Brandon? If so, holler it out now. And then we'll move on to targeted case management.
All right, that's me. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. All right, so I have 2 slides here about a success story. I won't go into great detail, but I just thought it was a great representation of cross-department work and a situation that was going on for about over 2 years for a couple of individuals that we supported out in the community. They didn't have any waivered services, but they lived out in the community. They got additional services from like the community setting, community funding. They used their benefits, but eventually the home was closed due to living conditions, and everybody came together to find a new place for them and come together even without those paid services. So there were about 4 SCs involved, a field trainer, and 3 supervisors, support coordination supervisors, who all came together. And they even stayed with the folks after the fact and made sure they were visiting them daily and making sure they were acclimating to the sudden change for them. The real barrier in this situation was because it wasn't DMH funded, we had to really collaborate with the community entities like DHSS, the actual city, and compliance and all of those. And there were just a lot of roadblocks because it may not be what we thought was a person-centered or what the living conditions we would like, but this was okay in those other programs. So just trying to work together and find the best situation for them. And on the next slide, next one, sorry. One of the supervisors wrote a really great email about how this just showed all the different values of ETOS and how this situation really brought that out and how they really represented ETOS and ETOS values and tied that back. And Shay Alfred actually wrote that. It's just really great about grace, excellence, nothing about me without me, teamwork, learning, and embracing ETOS mission. Like I said, this took about 2 years from start to finish. And it's still kind of going on now as we're still supporting the folks to fully recover from the situation. All right, next slide. Okay, so the average number of people served by Support Coordination is 1,676. We merged Team 3 and Team 8 in the first quarter, so we now have 7 teams. And so there was a lot of movement going on. We met 7 out of our 10 performance objectives, which exceeded the fourth quarter in 2024. We welcomed 1 new SC and had a new SC supervisor promoted internally. We started our new ISP template in February for our May plans, and that's still rolling out and has been a pretty big change for us. And then we had a significant increase in the MET minimum monthly logging requirement. So in March of 2025, 92% of our staff hit the logging requirement, which was an all-time high.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, it is. And then the next slide.
Next 2 slides.
Next 2 slides, sorry. Go ahead, Robin. So just some highlights on field training. 97% score on our new knowledge check for the first quarter, which was really awesome. All new SCs hit their training requirements 100%. Field trainers spend about 55% of their time with individual SCs and 25% of their time training and training prep. And then we had 17 due process referrals submitted to the Columbus group in the first quarter. We still aren't getting great data back, but we're still flowing and doing what we need to meet expectation with those. I think that's it. Any questions?
All right, I don't see anybody. All right. Did that cover it? Are we, anything else?
That covers all of our slides and the reports from those departments, unless there's questions or anything from the written reports that were submitted.
All right. Anybody? Is there any old business or new business? Now I lost my agenda. Let's see. Anybody, any public comment? They wouldn't have any public on here, but anybody else have any questions? Let's see. New business, old business. All right, that was a lightning speed meeting, I have to say.
I think everybody's doing a great job.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes. We
Yeah,
love the
there are
stories.
different-
I think we love the video.
I think
If
they worked really
there's-
hard to have less data in this report. You can read all the data you want, but seeing it on a slide is not impactful. And I think that they've worked really hard,
Yes.
hard to give you what you want to hear and let you read what you want to read.
Yeah. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's any other things that you would like to hear from each of the departments, just let us know. Like Georgie said, we're trying to really put it in the written form so that the stories are more impactful and that you can hear all of the actual things going on versus all the data that we're collecting and sending on.
Betty, there's no old business or new business or any other comment? We're not going to hold everybody here any longer, so we can always take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of adjournment, then you all will get together on Tuesday and I may try to get on late. I have to see how it goes.
Very good. Thank
All
you.
right.
You call
All right.
Teddy.
All right,
Thanks.
we'll see. All right,
Thanks.
bye.
Thanks, everyone.